Okay? Yeah, that's
Hello and welcome to another dose of Dude's Comic Book Goodness. I'm Jason and this is my weekly video where I review the books that I picked up this week, as well as review the latest episode of Arrow and share with you the good stuff in comics that I found this week. As always, we're going to kick this bad boy off with our reviews of my books. Here are my books that I bought this week. 7 books this week. 3 were Image Comics, 2 were from Marvel Comics and 2 were from DC Comics. So without much further ado, let's get to those reviews. First up this week we have a new book from Image Comics. It is called Black Science, issue number 1, and this is written by Rick Remender. I didn't really know what to expect with this book. I loved the things I've read from him from Marvel. I've loved Rick Remender's work, whether it's Captain America, Secret Avengers, Uncanny Avengers, Venom, Uncanny X-Force. Whatever I've read of Remender's I've always really enjoyed, so I was really intrigued to try some of his independent stuff, and with this coming out it was a perfect time to kind of jump on board and try his independent stuff, and I gotta say I really enjoyed it. The story starts off with this the narrative is like two people on this alien world, and they're running from these aliens. We introduce Grant McKay and a woman called Jen, and they've got to get this water back to what you gather their ship to, or the thing's going to blow up. They need fresh water in there, and they're trying to get past all these different creatures they've encountered on this world. So it's really cool. You get a lot of inner monologue from our main character, Grant McKay, who I gather is going to be the main protagonist of the book. And we get a lot of insights into who he is. We find out he's a bit of a rebel, but he's a rebel with a sense of right and wrong. He can't leave somebody and turn a blind eye to something that happened and that's wrong. And I found the way they did the story, throwing you straight in there, worked really well and really brought you up to speed quickly, and also really got you to know this character well, and I thought it was a really good device that Rick Remender used. The art is fantastic, as are the colours, as they create this really alien looking world. And the end of the story we get to introduced to all the other members of Grant's team, and they think they're going to go back home, but there is a bit of a twist. The book reminded me kind of a TV show, but I think it was in the 90s. They had a TV show called Sliders, where they would go to different parallel universes where Earth was slightly different in each one, and it kind of reminds me of that, mashed up with a bit of Doctor Who and mashed up with a bit of Quantum Leap. All in all, I really enjoyed this first issue. And I think after one issue I am hooked on this book. And that's like, usually I wait till about 3 issues till I make the decision if I'm on the book long term, but I so enjoyed this first issue that I can't wait for the next one. If I was still doing pick of the week, this would be my pick of the week, and I give it a really high recommendation, especially if you like your science fiction. This is definitely a well worth book getting up, and I give Black Science issue number 1 5 stars. So now we move over to DC Comics, and we have Justice League Dark, issue number 25. It is a Forever Evil tie-in, as they've got this kind of mini-series called Blight going on, that's going through all the kind of magic-based books. So it's gone through like Justice League Dark, Phantom Stranger, Constantine, and Pandora. This issue, I don't know, I think this is part 2, because very much it continues from the last issue. Swamp Thing, Nightmare Nurse, and John Constantine team up to try and defeat the embodiment of evil, Blight, who is really, when anyone has any kind of evil thoughts, it kind of empowers this being even more, and they're going to try and beat him, and because they still don't know what happened to Zatanna and Deadman and all the other members of the Justice League Dark, so John is really wanting to get them back, and it makes for a really great story. The art is outstanding as always. I don't know why Mikhail Yanin doesn't get more people raving about it, because he's so consistent. Every issue he just really knocks out the park with some really great art, and I think he's gone through about like 3 different writers on this series, yet his art has always remained constantly fantastic. I also really get into like Nightmare Nurse. She was a character when I first met her in Phantom Stranger I wasn't that enamoured with, but as time's gone on I've really got into her character, and I'm really beginning to quite like her. Also, I'm really loving how Demetrius is writing John Constantine. You know, you can see that he really cares about what's happened to Zatanna, but at the same time, he's still trying to be the same old John Constantine with, you know, with the sarcasm and the put downs. But I like that they're showing there's a bit more behind that, and he isn't just a callous bastard like he likes to try and come across as. So yeah, this was really good. Really enjoyed this one. Definitely, I'm going to be getting all the ones that kind of tie into this, into the Blight story. Because I already get Justice League Dark and Phantom Stranger, so it's only like 2 extra books. So I'll probably get all the ones for this. But I'm still really loving this. I am a bit concerned that the price has gone up and it's still $3.99. I don't know if that's a regular thing now, because kind of from Trinity War it went up in price. I'm a bit more concerned with it with Justice League Dark, because I think out of the 3 Justice League books, while it is I think the best one and the most consistent out of the 3 Justice League books, it is probably the lowest selling one, and I do worry about them increasing the price on a book that might, you know, not be as mainstream an audience. So yeah, I do concern about that, but hopefully that's going to be unfounded, or the book drops back after Forever Evil's finished. This book's going to drop back to $2.99. That would be ace. But yeah, Justice League Dark issue number 25. I give it 5 stars. Now we're on to Marvel Comics, and we have FF issue number 14. This issue we're kind of counting down now. We've got 2 issues left before this one finishes. So, you know, we're getting where we've always been heading, is the showdown with Doctor Doom. So this issue we really get to see Ant-Man, the leader of the team, really come into his own, and he formulates a plan that he hopes will help them defeat Doctor Doom. And you know, I gotta say, this was the first issue where I really, you know, felt Ant-Man, and I really kind of liked him as a leader here, because I felt he's really coming of age in this issue. The art, as always, is a lot of fun, as you can tell from the color, from the cover. Sorry, the colors and the art style really make it really all stand out, and it's the same inside. There's one scene I didn't like between Darla and Scott, that, you know, where he talks about killing somebody in prison, that I felt was a bit melodramatic, and it didn't really fit with the rest of the issue and the whole overall tone of the issue. So I didn't like that scene, and it still bugs me. I don't think they quite got She-Hulk quite right yet. You know, she's just like tits and muscle at the moment in this book, and she's a very intelligent woman, and I don't think they always do her justice in this book, in this series thus far. Hopefully, I think she's getting her own ongoing series in the new year. Hopefully they'll do a better justice in that. But yeah, this book I feel really coming into its own. Really looking forward to seeing how it's all going to end up, as we now get into the showdown with the battle with Doom. And I give FF issue number 14 4 stars. So next up, we're back on to DC Comics, as we have The Flash issue number 25. This is a 0-year tie-in, so it takes place 6 years ago, before Barry Allen got the powers of The Flash. I enjoyed seeing in this issue the detective side of Barry. We've seen that before in the book, but I always enjoy seeing that like behind the powers, that there's a man and there's a detective, and that is equally a big part of who the Flash is as just the superpowers. And it's also really great illustrating how that before he even had the powers, Barry Allen was already a hero. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing him. In this issue, he's trying to track down who's behind this new drug called Icarus, that literally sets people on fire when they take it. So I really like that, and it was really interesting as well, with it being Manapul and Bucciolato's last issue, with them going over to Detective Comics, that, you know, we get a Detective League kind of issue. So that was kind of funny. Also, it's in Gotham. So that's another strange coincidence with that's going to be their new stomping ground. I like the reason Barry was in Gotham. It made sense. The person that we've come to know as Barry Allen, it made sense that the character would make that decision to go to Gotham because they need more police with the blackout, that he'd be one who would volunteer. The whole introducing of Iris West I felt was a bit of a stretch. You know, that should be there at that exact time. I thought that was a bit of stretch. There was one scary moment where I thought, oh my god, they're going to say he got his Flash powers from being in Gotham City, but thankfully they didn't go down that road. The art started off, he was okay, But the last few pages we got Manopole back, and it was brilliant. Really going to miss him on this book. Yeah, the story, I enjoyed it. It was a nice story. At the end of it, I was kind of like, what was the point though? You know, with Green Arrow, which is the only other zero-year tie-in I've read, with Green Arrow, the whole thing with that book was, with the tie-in there, is that it introduced Diggle, and we'd introduced in the previous issue, but we got to see a bit of the history between Green Arrow and Diggle. So that worked as part of the ongoing story, and that there was a point to having it. But here, yeah, there wasn't really that much point, and I felt it was a bit of a sad way for Manopole and Butcherlalo to bow out on a bit of a whimper, and I give The Flash, issue number 25, 3 stars. Next up, we have back over to Image Comics with 5 Ghosts, issue number 7, and one of the surprise hits of 2013. Kicks off a new story arc this issue. And how can you make this story about this treasure hunter who has the power of, he can call on the power of 5 ghosts? How do you make the story even better? You introduce pirates and a treasure map, and booyah, we're there. So yeah, I love that. We get to meet some new characters this issue. We're meant to meet this thief called Jezebel, who really knows Fabian Gray. We get to meet this pirate, and he got this ship, the Screaming Squid. And they're supposed to be some pretty badass pirates who have a bit of a beef with our Fabian Gray. And we have a treasure map. So yeah, this issue was still loads of fun. The art is really great. It's a great place to jump on if you've not been reading the book, because it very much feels like a first chapter where you're introducing the characters and setting up the story. So I think it's a really good place to jump on board if you've been liking what you're hearing and you want to try it out. This is a great way to jump in. But yeah, I just still really enjoying this book, and it just remains a lot of fun. It has a totally kind of retro-y kind of feel, but it's just a lot of fun. And always when I finish reading this, I've always got a massive smile on my face, and I give 5 Ghosts, issue number 7, 4 stars. Next up, we have the Superior Spider-Man, issue number 22, which kicks off a new story arc called Darkest Hours. I really love that cover. It is so effective. The story inside, we reintroduced Agent Venom into the story, so it was great seeing Flash Thompson back. Really enjoyed seeing him. We continue to see the downfall of Peter Parker, and what I really like about this whole downfall is, since Doc Ock became Peter Parker, he believes he's the superior Spider-Man. And the thing that always was his weakness, his Achilles heel as a villain, was that he had this arrogance that would make him always overlook things, because he thought he was better and more clever than anyone else, and it would always make him overlook things that would lead to his downfall. And what I really love, what Dan Slott has done in the book, is that he hasn't changed Otto Octavius. Yeah, he may be Peter Parker now, yeah, he may be a hero now, but he's still got that same downfall, that same Achilles heel he had as a villain. And you can see that's going to be the thing that's going to cost him. And his life at the moment, he thinks he's brilliant. His business is doing really well. He's getting a nice balance between his time as Spider-Man and his time as Peter Parker. He's met a woman that totally gets him, that he's totally in love with. Everything seems to be rosy in the garden for our superior Spider-Man. But you can see all these little things in the background that are beginning to build. We get, like this issue, there's something in the background, something happening with Rafe, something happening with J. Jonah Jameson. And all these different people that he's kind of pissed off, that it's all building. And it reminds me, if you go back, some of you older viewers will remember the Dallas episode where they shot JR. And that season they did a brilliant way of building that up, because JR just pissed off everybody in Dallas. He screwed everybody, he conned everybody. And so like when it became to him being shot, it was like, well, anyone in Dallas could have done this, because he's just so many people he's kind of done over. And what I really like in here is all the people, it's all the different people that have that have been affected by our superior Spider-Man. They're all starting to build up, and all got their own little things going. And you can just see this is all waiting to explode. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where this is going to go. Also, really like the twist at the end. I loved seeing Agent Venom in it again, and I'm really intrigued to see where we're going to go next issue. And I give the Superior Spider-Man issue number 22 5 stars. So the final book of this week is back to Image Comics, and it is Saga, issue number 16. I just totally love this book. It is so much fun. Every time I get an issue of this and I sit down and read it, I'm just enveloped in my Saga bubble for however long it takes me to read it. I just absolutely adore this book, and it just remains one of the most top-notch best books out there at the moment. I really like how all the stories seem to be coming together. We seem to be reaching the point where we left off in issue 12. It seems like we've reached that point, and I like how the characters are coming together. It was a bit of a stretch why Gwendolyn felt she had to find Marco, but it does make sense, and it is good that those parts of the narrative are coming together, and that's going to be really interesting to see how that all goes off. I'm really liking our two paparazzi that have been introduced. They really bring a different element into it, because they're not searching for Marco and Alana to kill them. They're searching because they want the story. They want to expose the story, and there are certain people who want the story to stay hidden. So yeah, I think they've added a nice little kind of variable to the story. Just really enjoying it still. It's just a fantastic book. The art, Fiona Staples gets just so much emotion into her characters. All the characters are just so well written, and it's like there's some pretty outlandish stuff in the book, but it's always grounded at the core by this love story of Marco and Alana trying to make their love work against all the odds. And that just grounds everything else, and no matter how wacky the rest of the book gets, it just grounds it all. And yeah, I'm just still totally adore this book, and I give Saga issue number 16 5 stars. So, as you'll have seen, today I will be reviewing Arrow Season 2, Episode 7, State versus Queen. This episode, sorry. Usually you have a format where you'll have an A story and a B story, and they'll show you something on the island. But both stories today seem to be A stories. You couldn't really relegate one as a B story. You have Ollie, you have the Count. We kick the story off with the Count, a villain from last season, who had a drug called Vertigo that he was peddling throughout Starling City till Ollie shut him down. And he gets out of prison, and we also, in a nice touch, get to find out how Dollmaker had escaped from prison. So that was a nice kind of touch that they threw in there. So yeah, the Count gets out, and Ollie has to kind of track him down and stop him as he has a new diabolical scheme. And the thing that really interesting in this is Ollie's made this vow that he's not going to kill no more. Since Tommy's death, his best friend, he's not going to kill no more. And the Count really tests that this episode, as the Count is going to keep coming. He's not going to stop. And so Ollie has to make the decision, what do I do? Do I kill this guy, or do I just keep him coming at me? And by the end of the episode, there's a situation where Ollie just has only one choice, and it's really interesting to see how they play that, and I liked that. Then the other part of it, we have the court case, which was Ollie's mum, Moira Queen, is on trial for helping Malcolm Merlin to blow up the Glades. So she's on a court case. At the end of all that kind of thing that's going on, we get a nice kind of twist, well, kind of double twist, if you will. At the end, that really, I think, is going to change the series. Really, there's some interesting stuff going on. What I really like about this series, we see a little bit with Blood again, and what I'm really liking is that, like last season, the main focus of the modern day stuff was Ollie stopping the Undertaking, finding out who the Dark Archer was, and stopping the Glades from being destroyed. That was the main focus. This season, you've got more than one villain. You've got Brother Blood, and he's got something, he's doing some kind of experiments he's doing on people which look like they've reached fruition. But we get another character reintroduced this episode, who's another villain for them to go up against, so who might have an overall plan as well. So I'm really liking this season, as they're just really opening it up, and there's just so much going on. Again, we had a little more sexual tension with Ollie and Felicity, and there is an attraction there. I never saw that before last episode, and I don't know if I was just too blinded to it or not, but I wouldn't mind Ollie ended up with Felicity. That would be quite nice, as long as she stays away from Lowell, because she is quickly turning into a mad woman. And it's really interesting to see what they've done with her character. Last season, she was like, she would a defense lawyer, and she would defend people, and a lot of the things that the Hood would be called in to do, she would be working with the Hood to help people. This time, she's kind of, since Tommy's death, which she's took really hard and she blames herself for, and now she's a prosecution lawyer, and she's just really found herself ostracized and kind of split away from much of the main story, but also from those support characters that were there for her last season. So it's really interesting seeing what's going on with her, and you get this sense that her story could end particularly tragically. On the island, we get some fantastic stuff as we get to see Slade Wilson again, all kind of really burnt now down the one side of his face. So is that going to be why he wears the mask? We get Shadow and we get Ollie, and we had a new dynamic in there with Sarah, because Ollie and Shadow were getting it on. And you could tell that Slade was a bit jealous because he had feelings for Shadow as well. And now you're throwing Sarah in there as well. That kind of, how's that going to affect the dynamic between Ollie and Shadow? So that's going to be really interesting how that plays out. We get to see more of Dr. Ivo and a bit more of his ruthless streak. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying the whole series at the moment. Really looking forward to seeing where it's all going to go and what's going to happen to everybody. But yeah, Arrow just remains a top-notch show. Definitely well worth checking out. And I give episode 7 of season 2, State vs. Queen, 5 stars. Hello, you've reached the end of my video, and hopefully this is going to be the good stuff. This week, the big thing for me was the Doctor Who 50th anniversary episode, Day of the Doctor. I just absolutely loved that episode. Yeah, there were a couple of things I could probably nitpick with. However, all in all, I really enjoyed it, and there were so many great surprises that I was just geeking out for, that it was brilliant. And I really loved the end of it, the way they ended it. Like 50 years ago, Doctor Who, the Doctor was running away from home. That was basically what he was doing. 50 years later, he's trying to find home. He's trying to find his way back home. And there's a brilliant line that Moffat wrote for Matt Smith at the end of it, where he goes, "I know where I'm going, where I've always been going, home, the long way round." Which is just a beautiful moment at the end. I just really enjoyed that episode. Comic related news, there hasn't really been anything that's really grabbed me this week, really grabbed my attention. However, I have been catching up on my cartoons. I saw Avengers Assemble, which I didn't really think that much of. I much preferred Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. But to be fair, I've only seen a couple of episodes of Avengers, so maybe when I've seen more episodes, I'll get used to it. Almost Spider-Man seemed okay. I think I watched about half of season 1, and that was okay. But I think out of the 3 I caught this week, my favourite was Hulk and the Agents of Smash. This is Hulk with his own kind of superhero team. So you've got Hulk as the leader, you've then got She-Hulk, Red Hulk, you've got Scar, and you've got A-Bomb. The first episode pretty much kind of explains how A-Bomb gets his powers, and Scar is a bit of a mystery. We know he's from space, but it's a bit of a mystery. He's a whole kind of origin and stuff on why he's a Hulk. And I don't know if they're going to address that at some point, but at the moment, yeah, that's pretty much it with Scar. The whole show is kind of presented like a reality show. Even though it's a cartoon, it's a reality show, and this is why, and I thought this is a clever idea, because it's why they always capture all their adventures, and why they're always following them around, because, you know, it's a reality show. So I really like that part of it. I think that's a good idea. Also, it creates some nice moments where, like, somebody will say something or something will happen, and you'll cut away to what the character talking about that, like you would in a reality show. So I really like that. I think that's a really clever idea. The show also kind of seems to have kind of a message or moral of the week, which kind of reminds me a lot of the shows I grew up with in the 80s. You know, they always used to have something like that at the end. So I really liked that as well. I think that's really cool. This week's episode was the best one I've seen yet. It was called Wendigo Apocalypse. Guest starred Wolverine. Hulk has been forced by the other Agents of Smash to go on holiday. Hulk doesn't like going on holiday because some bad stuff always happens and they end up destroying somewhere. And so, but they managed to outvote him and make him go on this skiing holiday. Unfortunately, there's this Wendigo King, and he's like, if he bites or scratches you, you become a Wendigo and you come under his control. And he's pretty much taken over the ski resort. Wolverine's there trying to stop him, so Hulk and the Agent of Smash team up with Wolverine to try and stop the Wendigo, but they can't kill none of the people, because the people, once the spell is broken, will revert back to normal. So Hulk won't let Wolverine kill anyone, which kind of pisses Wolverine off and leads to some nice tension between Hulk and Wolverine. It's very much set up like a horror movie, and to the extent that A-Bomb, like, is pretty much giving you out these horror movie rules, very much kind of like you would get in the movie Scream. So yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed that episode. Definitely one of the best animated cartoons I've seen in a while, and I'm really enjoying Hulk and the Agents of Smash. So Particularly if you're only going to check one episode out, check out Wendigo Apocalypse. It's a really good episode. So yeah, I really enjoy that. Recommend that. So that's all the good stuff I've got for you this week, I'm afraid. Not really that, like I said, not really that much news that grabbed me this week. Moving on, and I'll be back next week. Sorry about the length of this video. I know it's a bit of a long one today. Next week we've got no Arrow review. I don't know if it was because Thanksgiving in America that they had no Arrow this week, so we get no Arrow episode on Monday. It comes back on Monday the 9th of December. So it should definitely be a shorter video next week with no Arrow review in there. I hope you're enjoying the new format. I'm definitely enjoying putting this new format together. And so far it seems to be working pretty well. The only thing, I need to keep the length down a bit more and keep it closer to 20 minutes, which we're not going to get to if I keep waffling. So yeah, anyway, as always, thank you very, very much for watching. I always appreciate everybody who's watching my videos. I will be back, as I said, next week. I've been Jason. This has been Dudes Comic Book Goodness. Bye for now.